What's going on today, Internet? Selfish with Retrospect. Guildkid has just launched their next generation King Kong 3 standard controller. This bad boy has got little TMR sticks. Our friends over at Active sent it to me to put it through the paces, and I told them I'd check it out. So, let's take a look. I've been using this as my primary controller for close to 2 weeks now, so I've got lots of things to say about it after some proper testing. But first, I think we should probably go through the I/O like we normally do. We do have, obviously, our triggers and bumpers like we would on anything else that we test on this channel. This actually does have our sync buttons for the different operating systems you can sync to. So if you want to go Nintendo Switch, Windows, Android, there is a D-Link on here as well. And then obviously our sync button, and we can also change positions with that. On the back here, not a whole lot to look at except for these beautiful, beautiful ergonomic bumps that we have on the back here, and they do have a good texture to them. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a good texture that really does have a good hand feel on it. Obviously, there's nothing can be on the sides or the bottom. There is not a headphone jack on this particular controller. I haven't seen a controller in a while, I feel like, that didn't have a headphone jack, but then I realized most of mine don't, so I was second guessing myself. No, these are not volume buttons, they are start and select. We do have our home button, obviously our image button, and our function keys. This does have some really nice... I just started a game. This does have some good face buttons with good travel, as you can see here. Oddly, they travel with the shell. I think they actually all move the same, but it does kind of look like, if you look at this close enough, let's see if I can get this on here. See where that one's landing? They all come into different heights with the shell. But again, I think the travel on them is identical. Like when you feel it, I think that it's the same. If any of them are short, it's going to be the A, but the B feels the same. They all feel the same. I think it's just a matter of how much curvature there is on here, and I haven't noticed that on another controller recently, but this one here actually starts to curve within the buttons, similar to like a Steam Deck would, but I think it's actually doing pretty good there. We do have a really nice D-pad on here. It's got a kind of a soft push to it almost. It's somewhat almost, it's not clicky, but it definitely feels more mechanical than some D-pads do on controllers like this, but the D-pad corners are well-rounded, and so because they are well-rounded, it actually makes this a great D-pad for fighting games, or if you're going to race with the D-pad instead of using the stick, it works good for that too. You do get a full set of motion on it. I can show you that here too. And it's even all the way around. It's got a decent dish on it. But because these corners are as rounded as they are, it's actually a very comfortable D-pad to use, and it works very well. Probably one of the standout features on this controller, to be honest with you, at least in my opinion. And then we have the bell of the ball. This particular controller does have TMR sticks. This is going to be the first controller I've tested that actually comes with TMR sticks. I do have controllers, including my Steam Deck. My Steam Deck is using TMR sticks. I've had them on there for a couple of months. Really like them. This particular controller, at its price point around $40, is pretty much a gateway into TMR if it is something that you'd be getting interested in, which is just the next level or next generation of Hall Effect. Very similar technology. We can go over it here in a little bit. These do also have the slip ring on them, which is nice, with the metal on here and then the slip ring down here, so you're not going to get any snags, you're not going to hit any burrs, anything like that. It's going to be smooth transitioning all the way through with the sticks themselves. I thought it'd be fun to use Neo Drift Out to try to show you something that happens with this type of stick. If you've never used TMR before, this isn't something I've ever actually run into, but these sticks are almost reactionary. It took me about a week to get used to them where I can actually use them to play a game, and I use TMR sticks, like I said, every day on my Steam Deck. It's a little off-putting. If this is the first time I'd ever used TMR sticks, I would probably never want to use them again. This isn't the experience I've ever gotten using TMR sticks on any other set of these that I've used before. So it really just wants to whip it. So it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. Instead of getting like a smooth transition, for some reason these sticks tend to just go straight to where the endpoint is. Which is great if that's what I was trying to do. If you're playing a shooting game, you almost blow right past your target. That was kind of a bad example, but you can kind of see it there. I'm pretty darn good at this game, so I shouldn't be like completely flipping my car around. So I almost have to back it off when it's already sliding to the other direction to try to level it out a little bit. Like, it shouldn't go that far with how little movement I put into the stick. And so I've kind of, like I said, after, about a week it took me to figure out kind of how to use these so that you can kind of get away with it. You can't leave it in one position very long. The longer it's there, the faster it goes. And that's just because these are linear, like any other sticks would be. Yeah, so like there, it'll whip all the way around if you don't correct it. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. It might have been better if I would have done a shooter, but it's hard to film in this environment. But they are just a little knee-jerky when it comes to it, and it is because of the curve. That's very evident, but adjusting that I don't think is going to fix the problem, because I think you're going to have a problem on the other end of that. So I think they're dialed in where they need to be dialed in. It's just not the way that I expected them to feel, because it doesn't feel like TMRs I've used before. That doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. After some time, I've been able to figure out how to play with it. which is the same thing that happens with every controller that's out there that I test. You know, I won't be able to use it for the first couple days. Now, I've had this for a couple weeks, so I should be pretty good with it. I am still kind of having a tug of war with the curve a little bit, but not to the point where it's unplayable. They just seem very sensitive, which is really weird because these sticks actually have a decent amount of resistance on them too. So for them to be so sensitive with this amount of resistance, it's just kind of new to me. I've never had that happen before, but this is the first GhillyKit controller I am reviewing, though I do use GhillyKit Hall Effect and TMR sticks in a lot of my custom builds for handhelds. In fact, I've got a couple that I'm going to do here coming up. Just haven't felt like this for me before, and I use a Steam Deck every day that has TMR sticks in it, and it's a different feel of what I'm experiencing here today. It's interesting because I know they designed these controllers in reverse, so they started off with the max version of the KK3, then they built the Pro, and now we have the KK3 standard, and this is the only one with TMR sticks, and that's because Hall Effect, was the most reliable technology when the first two came out. By the time we got here to the standard, TMR became the even more reliable technology beyond Hall Effect. Now, we shouldn't see any stick drifting in any of them, but this one's even less likely to have that happen, and it's just the use of the magnets. That said, I have been able to adjust this controller over time, so hopefully you would be able to do the same thing. I think it looks and it feels great. It's got a great plastic to it. I love these little dots here on the back. They really do give me that grip that I need. I'm not a sweater. My hands don't sweat when I play games, so I probably wouldn't need this kind of grip, but it feels really nice in your hands. Hard to explain, but it's like a little massage on your palms. And this has got great face buttons, as I stated earlier, and this D-pad is so good for fighting games. It has that curve to it, so your thumb doesn't get sore, at least not from hitting the button. It might because you're playing for too long, but the fact that you're able to do that with the longevity of the battery on the controller itself, and part of that is thanks to it being TMR, using less of a power draw, but the point being your hands aren't going to get tired or sore while you're playing. It's kind of hard to pin this controller down in this price range because there are so many controllers within the $20 to $40 price range. This is kind of on the top of that bubble. I mean, we're talking hundreds of controllers that we see that are available almost every day. I do like it for the technology that's in it, and the fact that you can get a controller with TMR sticks for $40 is criminal, so that's awesome. Like, it's absolutely great that GhillyKit's actually been able to make that happen, but it is inevitable that you'll be able to find equal to or better controllers for $40. And at that point, it just comes down to personal preference. As stated, again, it does feel really good in your hands. It's just a matter of will you adjust to these TMR sticks or not. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'd like to give a shout out to our friends again over at Agnes for sending this to us for purpose of review. Thank you for making us part of the process over here. Allow me to get in and answer questions for my viewers and give this thing a shot. That's all I got for you today. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends because sharing helps grow the channel, and we also care about each other. And because sharing is caring, we're going to build up this community a little bit more, and we're going to care about each other. Group hug. Just kidding, I won't give you a group hug as long as you watch one of these videos that's posted above you, because Google picked it out for you saying that you're going to like it. So I'm going to listen to Google on this one. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.